episode 25. Again, no real need for an extensive recap this time. I think it would just suffice to say for myself that last time was messing around with the finale of the Thaumaturge quest. I think I said to myself we were waiting on a call from, who would it be? Voiceover, Hello, or whoever's our representative at the Adder's Nest, for us to meet with these sylphs on the next quest. Let's say that they've called us now, and we're ready to continue on the main quest where we left off. In between sessions, all I've really been doing is going into the Gold Saucer and playing mini-games, participating in the fashion report where I can, to get some of the things that I want. Mainly these emotes for drawing and sheathing your weapon, which they added a bit later on. They're a bit nicer than the super quick draw and sheath animations that are baked into the game. I'm sure they added those in because they didn't like the way they looked in cutscenes. There's no real reason to use them, but I like to start with those whenever entering a dungeon or a trial. A kind of ritual to prepare myself. Kind of pricey in terms of MGP for them, but I like it well enough. It's been a while for myself. Minfilia would have you ascertain the Sylph tribe's intentions, aided by the power of the Echo. Before making contact with the diminutive beastmen, report to Commander Voiceover Hello at the Adder's Nest in Gridania. And we are reporting now. We know far too little of the Sylphs to lay any worthwhile plans. We must call upon the Scions once more if we are to... beg pardons. 'Tis a terrible habit of mine to think aloud. But tell me, what brings you to the Adder's Nest? And with that quest completed, self-management, I'm not sure if there should have been a message indicating it or not, but we would have unlocked the job quest for now, for all of the advanced classes or whatever they're called. Thaumaturge unlocks Black Mage and Gladiator would unlock Paladin. But we don't exactly want to continue with those right now, since I'm in the middle of, I suppose, the storyline here for the Sylphs. In fact, I mentioned it last time, but I'm not sure why they put the unlock behind that quest in particular. Sure, it's a level 20 quest, but you'd think it'd be behind a level 30 quest or something. And it's also getting into the whole Gridania plotline. It almost feels like it's in the middle of that plotline. If it were me, I don't know, make it a quest that ends at the Waking Sand, so there's some kind of breathing room where you could tackle the job quest. Hail, adventurer. I bid you welcome to the Adder's Nest. Do you seek to entwine your destiny with the Twin Adder? Good evening, Commander. Sorry to disappoint you, but other business brings us here today. Ida and Papa Lima, always a pleasure to see the two of you. My men tell me you quest in the name of the Scions of late. Quite so, Commander. The little bird told us that the Twin Adder was in need of our adventuring prowess. Your little bird sings true. No doubt you've heard that we're investigating the Sylphs, that curious beast tribe that calls the depths of the 12th home. The Sylphs are, for the most part, a peaceable bunch, much to the delight of the elder Seed Seer, who has no desire to see her people embroiled in yet another fruitless war. The Twin Adder is of the same mind, and 'tis precisely for this reason that the Sylph relation to the primal Ramu has raised a flag of warning amongst our ranks. Friendly as they may appear, beastmen will be beastmen. some of the early writing of A Realm Reborn. I don't think the whole Beastman aspect is carried on later on, but I guess you could say this is part of the early relationships with these tribes. Could there be even a sliver of a chance that the summoning of the Primal might disturb the balance between Gridania and the Sylphic tribes? It is a possibility we cannot ignore. Better to be safe than sorry, indeed. Better to be safe than sorry, indeed. Do we strike at Ramu, or leave the Sylphs to their own ways? That is the question, yet I find myself lacking ample knowledge to arrive at an answer. Opinions abound within Gridania, but to listen only to one's own is among the greatest mistakes a commander can make. I would hear from the other side, the Sylphs themselves, and seek an impartial party to serve as my liaison. That is where you Scions come in. The Sylphs of Little Soulless remain untempered, and have held many a productive dialogue with our people. I would hear their candid thoughts on their tempered brethren. That said, I urge you exercise due caution. Sylphic tradition and etiquette bear little resemblance to our own. It would not do to have any cross-cultural faux pas get in the way of productive parley. En route to Little Soulless, you will come upon the Hawthorn Hut. Our officer stationed there can enlighten you as to how to win the Sylph's favor. May your expedition be a worthwhile one. And it's raining. A friendly palaver with the Sylphs. This should be a pleasant enough diversion. The Hawthorn Hut, was it? I believe the ferry departing from the West Shore Pier should take us straight there. A friendly palaver indeed. I hope this will be as straightforward as you say, Papalimo. I'm sure Komori is not one for negotiations, but I'm sure she's expecting there'll be some trouble along the way that she'll be able to get her hands dirty with. It doesn't look too bad raining like this. The glowing lights and the wet ground. I suppose this one area is quite nice in the rain, but for the most part I always hate when it rains. In game anyway. I still haven't bothered to create a retainer. For that you need some character visual data from the character creator. I don't really feel like spending time on that on camera anymore. Perhaps I'll just reuse one of my other characters. My main or my best character. The ferry docked at the base of this hill will carry you across the lake to the East Shroud. Once you are ashore, head due east and you should find the Hawthorn Hut without much trouble. Cute little dogs. A fisher. If I did pick up one gathering or crafting class, it might be Fisher. I think Fisher upgrades pretty quickly, so it wouldn't be too much of a time sink. And I think the experience bonus for being in this world also applies to crafting / gathering. Well, I'll think about it later. I happen to be heading across the lake to Sweet Bloom Pier in the East Shroud. Before we do that, I like to get perspective of where we are in the map. Of course, I already know this from my main character, but re-experiencing it now, going from areas I've already explored to areas that are yet unexplored on this character. I want to get a sense of the scale of where we are. Sometimes the distance between areas like the Central Shroud and the East Shroud can be miles, depending on which areas we're talking about. But in this case, from Gridania to the East Shroud, we're just heading across this lake on a skipper. It might be a big lake, I can't really see very far ahead. But based on this map, not that big. And I suppose worth noting, the layout of the map here kind of matches, as you can see in the background, the layout of Eorzea. It's vaguely Africa-shaped, and you can see we're in the, right now, sort of in the center of Africa, and the East Shroud is towards the, well, the east of Africa, or what we would call Eorzea, I suppose. Now that area is mainly Garabania. I never really noticed that on my main character until I was quite a ways in. It just seemed like random blotches on the map that didn't really specify where we were in the world. I guess that's my own fault for probably rushing through the beginning stages of the game without really taking it in. Level 50. Oh. What's that doing here? Almost forgot we have a chocobo. Even so, I think I'll take it slow. Let's walk there. Tonight just so happens to be the date of a live letter regarding the contents of 6.1. I think it's still a few hours until then, real time. Maybe in the middle of my session here, I'll take a break and watch that. These sessions, if they last several hours, I often find I get hungry in the middle of them. I want to take a longer break than usual. I hope that'll happen around the time the live letter comes out. Give me something interesting to watch. Other than that, it would be Sunday morning anime on streaming services like Crunchyroll or whatever, which air at nighttime for me, Saturday night. I missed the path up. How long has it been since I've been here? On my main character, maybe years. No reason to come here. It's just a hut in the middle of the woods. Important enough for an aetherite, but still just a hut. Let's get the lay of the land. Presumably this hut is just a station for the twin adders or whoever is keeping an eye on the sill. But I guess there are these hawthorns who probably own the place. Do you smell the honey? It may not compare to the mother's mead, but it's a lot nicer than the first batch I made. That one smelled like wet chocobo. Cozy place. Looks like this area is some kind of healing station or a resting area for people that are maybe weary from battle or something, or from travel. I'm guessing this person, Joacin, is the healer. You take sufficient precautions when traversing the 12th Wood. This area has an abundance of belligerent beasts, and even experienced adders have had to seek my care. Yes, I suppose this is a kind of ranger cabin equivalent. I guess they don't have rangers in Final Fantasy. Maybe. I don't know why. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure when you use the doze emote on beds, you should be lying down on them. Maybe the beds in a realm Reborn don't actually work too well for that. Are these for Lalafell use or something? They seem too small for anyone else. Well, let's get on with it. Indeed, I am Emmeline of the Twin Adder. I understand you're here to learn of the Sylphs, yes? For all their whimsy, they are a wary lot, particularly since the Empire has come to the Shroud. Earn their trust, however, and they're as friendly as any folk. They have their quirks, but so do we all know. Would you know more, you'd do well to speak with the master of this hut, Rolf. He's forgotten more about the Sylphs than I'll ever know. Who exactly is Rolf? Just owner of a hut that helps out people in need? Associate with the Adders? Patriarch of the beekeeping Hawthorne family. I see. I guess he's just a beekeeper that happens to be near the Sylphs. Come to learn a thing or two about the Sylphs, have you? I'll tell you one thing, they're peculiar folk. How peculiar, you ask? Well, just let me tell you. Beg pardon, friend. My memory's just not what it used to be. I've seen much and more in my adventuring days, and it's all a clutter in my noggin now. Though I've shared my stories with those around the hut before, you might have more luck with them. Another walk around and talk to people quest. Kinda lets you get to know the people in an area, and give it some flavor. The Sylphs, yes, Father's told me his stories plenty of times. What I've always found most captivating is how their concept of etiquette is almost completely alien to our own. You do best not to underestimate them on account of their childlike looks, lest your face end up a mess of glyphs, squiggles, and chocobo scratches. Tee. Not even dirt trails between the areas here. It's just overgrown. That's how far out in the boonies we are. Well, I guess this isn't even the boonies, it's just the wild. The quickest way to a quiver woman's heart might be through her stomach, but don't even think about trying to force your foodstuffs onto a self. They sustain themselves simply by bathing in the sun, or so Rolf once told me. The sylphs. Inveterate tricksters and troublemakers, that's what they are. One day they're drawing marble faces on our masks, the next they're sending our young sentries falling to the bottom of a ravine. Tell them to stop and they just laugh at you. Rolf claims they harbor no ill will, but I dare say such pranks are no laughing matter. They added umbrellas at a much later point in the game. It'd be nice to have one right about now. Just because I don't like the feeling of walking through the rain, even if it's virtual. Oh, of course, of course. Hearing your stories, well, my stories, has brought the memories flooding back to me. I feel like dancing. Yes, nothing brings people together quite like a little toe tapping. A sylph told me long ago that dancing is a time-honored greeting amongst their kind. You do well to remember this. It just may help win the favor of our forest friends. Fire 3. I guess this would be the second to last spell, or ability, or whatever, that we learned before taking on Black Mage. Kind of strange that that happens at level 35, when they expect you to take on the job at level 30. But I guess this is some way of balancing the Thaumaturge class for higher level content if you haven't yet taken on the job. At least only up to a certain point. But what good is this? More potency than fire. Longer cast time. I'm going to assume it's more efficient than fire. And it grants Astral Fire 3. Of which I now have 3 stacks. So Fire 3 would give us Astral Fire 3 immediately. And then Transpose would give us Ice 3 without having to build stacks in between. Going from 3 to 3 rather than 3 to 1, I think. No, that's not true. With a single Umbral Ice. Or could that be 1 for 1 up to 3 for 3? Oh, I guess I'll see it in battle. See, I understand Fire 2 as a kind of separate thing for its own. AoE usage, same thing with Blizzard 2 and Thunder 2. But with Fire 3, there's no equivalent Blizzard 3 or Thunder 3, yet anyway. Should I be casting Fire 3 all the time, or just Fire 3 and then Fire? Well, I'll worry about it later. Oh, still here, eh? Great. That's one more thing you should know about the sylphs. They don't take kindly to guests who show up empty-handed. To earn their trust, you do well to bring along draft. What was it again? My wife Rosa and I were just speaking of the matter not days ago. Forgive me, friend. Speak to Rosa at the comb. Her memory should prove more reliable than my own. Quali sure is a close talker, though I guess I'm guilty of that myself sometimes. Oh? Oh, over there. Well, I guess the time for walking is over. Have you tried Rosa's mead? It's simply to die for. Well, perhaps not die as such, but I would certainly suffer a few stings for a mug. She and those honeybees of hers have a hit on... Oh. She and those honeybees of hers have a hit on their hands. It was shortly after the Spire sentries developed a taste for the stuff that word began to spread. And before we knew it, customers were turning up from as far afield as Limsa Lominsa. Still, men have traveled further for less. That's the second time we've heard of this mead, I suppose. From her daughter, no less. I guess she's the master of the craft. A peace offering for the sylphs. Were it anyone else, I'd recommend a jar of honey, but I fear that wouldn't get you past their front doorstep, dear. No, their tastes far more to the unusual. Are you perchance familiar with milk root? That's what we call the root of that most fiendish seedkin, the ochu. When chewed, it exudes a cloudy liquid that's said to induce curious visions in the imbiber. You'd not catch me dead trying the stuff, but the sylphs seem to enjoy it to no end. I've not seen an ochu around the comb in quite some time, but I did encounter a suspicious clump of grass the other day. Were you to stimulate it somehow, with some of this amber syrup, for example, you might be surprised at what comes out. Good luck. Cancelled the cast time. Guess we're walking. Let's have a look at this fire theory. Well, it's certainly powerful. Of course, that could be because I'm level 35. Wait. I see. It's 3 to 1. Well, that's not how it's used. I guess you're still expected to build up ice stacks, even if you're able to get instant fire stacks. Oh, I suppose we're done with Rosa then. was just about to say it's daytime now, but looks like we've got a thunderstorm on our way. I guess the rain is coming back in no time. This thunder, just the normal thunder, not the special thunder. Ah, you're back. Was my wife able to direct you to a suitable offering? Milkroot, but of course. Those sylphs quaff that cloudy stuff as quick as I do a flagon of mead. The effect's just about the same as well. Any road a gift of milkroot will have the sylphs calling you friend and sister the moment they lay eyes on it. Now let me wrap that up for you. I'm starting to feel a bit woozy. I've taken the liberty of wrapping your milkroot well and good. This should keep it nice and fresh, not to mention spare you from that god's awful stench. The sylphs love the stuff, but me, I'd rather bury my nose in chocobo dung. I dare say the reek even rivals the breath of the morble that put an end to my adventuring days. But I can tell you that story another time. You've much more important matters to attend to today, yes? The sylphs are an eccentric bunch, but I've shared their company enough to know they are kind at heart. They'll not shun one whose intentions are true. May your parley be a fruitful one, friend. And do stop by on your return. There's a flagon of full flower mead with your name on it, if you'd regale me with your adventuring tales. Ah, and before I forget, don't go traipsing off just yet. Emmeline here would have a word with you. Travel in safety, friend, and do pass along my regards to the winged ones. It's good to see your knowledge of sylphic culture has matured. I see no reason to delay your mission any farther. Upon your arrival at Little Solace, seek out a young sylph by the name of Komuzio. He has served as an intermediary between our peoples on many an occasion, and has the close ear of his tribe's elder. I see that Hawthorne has furnished you with some of that malodorous fruit the sylphs so adore. I have something of far greater import for you to deliver. A missive from the elder seed seer herself. To summarize the letter's contents in brief, it vouches for the integrity of our envoy, that would be you, and restates Gridania's desire to maintain a harmonious relationship with our long-standing friends of the forest. The war with the Ixal has taken a toll on our resources. We can ill afford to get mired in another conflict. I need not impress upon you the further importance of this mission. May the 12 see you return with good tidings. Well, the thunderstorm isn't bringing quite as much rain as I thought, so I think we'll walk there. Expired jailbait. Suppose I'm spending most of this episode not really doing anything of import. Really just leading up to the more important stuff. I think it's fine. Well, it's fine for me anyway. There isn't really anyone else I'm trying to impress with these, so a slow episode suits me just well. I would have ignored these paths on my main character. Maybe I would have taken note of them, but I would have taken the straight line path nonetheless. Looked at my compass, and set my course directly for where the quest marker is pointing to me. Taking it in slow like this, I can see some of the transition from one area to another. Only subtle things, from a normal looking forest or normal enough to a more colorfully decorated one, where people are living in the trees rather than among them. Hail and well met. Walking One has come to Little Solace, the new home of these ones. Gracious Elder One of the Forest City allows these ones to live here. This one appreciates having a safe place to stay. But were it not for those ones, this one would much rather be back in these ones' old home. Why is there a guy out here? I can't talk to those sylphs. Yes, they scare me a little. Look, they aren't like you and me. You'd be talking to them, and they'll just start messing with you. And he's just hanging outside for some reason. Maybe he's involved in some quest or somewhat. Walking One is not familiar to this one. This one does not trust strange walking ones. Strange dancing ones might be a different story, but this one expects no such thing. Walking One should go home and leave this one be. Well, Komori is no stranger to dancing at the whims of her quest giver. And she calls that dancing. This one would welcome Walking One who moves like these ones. If Walking One would talk to this one will answer. This one is a busy one, so Walking One should speak with a quick talk. Walking One would bring gift to this one. Walking One is most kind. Walking One brings Milkroot. Milkroot fills this one with great joy. This one gives thanks. Gives many, many thanks. Walking One carries message for the Elder One. This one will deliver the message to Elder One. Walking One should not worry. Hello there. We're envoys from Gridania, and we're here to treat with your people. Hi. We've come to pay our respects to your elder, and learn more from him, and to learn from him more of your Lord Ramu. Who are these ones? These Walking Ones come from Gridania. Walking One became a dancing one and brought Milkroot, but Walking One tricks this one. This one does not like tricks. This one will speak no more. Elder One is busy, Walking One should go home. Go home, you say? But the sylphs of Little Solace have always welcomed Gridanian envoys with open wings. The letter carried by Komori here is an oath of peace penned by the Elder Seedseer herself. Still you would refuse us? This one's reasons are no business of Walking One's. Elder One has no word for Gridania. Walking Ones waste everyone's time. Well, I never. Turned away at the gates. Whatever did we do to deserve such a rude welcome? Was Komori's jig insufficiently jiggy? Well, that it was, but that's not the problem here. I'm as baffled as you, but something tells me the recent events have our erstwhile fluttery friends feeling uncommonly wary. It would seem we've no choice but to ask around, and see how we might earn their trust. Potions. Strange. I'd forgotten there were potions that affect your enemy. Well, let's try the paralysis potion. It seems like these will become instantly useless past this point because we'll be leaving level 20 zone soon. We can play around with them. Over here. By virtue of the crystal trade, the Sylphs have maintained friendly terms with most every race in Eorzea. Alas, the appearance of Ramu has been as a storm cloud over relations. If peace is to be secured, we must reopen a dialogue with the Sylphs before they have the chance to summon their god again. Hey, Komoi, are you in the mood for dancing? That's right, dancing. You went through all that trouble to learn the Sylph's traditional greeting, but you've hardly greeted any of them. Why, if I were a Sylph, I'd be beside myself with delight to see an adventurer expressing an interest in my culture. Of course, I'd be happy to join. Oh well, there goes those bloody leg cramps of mine, acting up again. No need to overthink things. So long as your heart is in it, the Sylphs will understand you. You just want to see more of my embarrassing dance, don't you? Well, that's fine with me. Ooh, Walking One knows Jolly Dance. Jolly Dance fills this one with good cheer. Let these two be friends. This one is weaving cloth. Walking One would know more. This one does not trust Walking Ones who do not show respect. Walking Ones would be a friend to these ones. This one is overjoyed. But this one keeps the ways of weaving a secret. Even if Walking One learned the secret, Walking One could not weave in the same way. What does Walking One want with this one? Elder One warned this one not to get too friendly with Walking Ones. Ah, Walking One is a friend to these ones. Friendly like gracious elder of the forest city. Knows how to dance to these ones' hearts. Does Connie Senna dance for these? I've never seen her move more than a slow strut before. I don't think I've ever recalled seeing her in battle either. I wonder what she looks like dancing. Komoi, would you like to hear the good news or the better news? The good news is that your level dancing has brought smiles and high spirits to all of Little Solace. The better news? Why, I've thoroughly recovered from those accursed leg cramps. Onward to our next adventure. I'm so glad for you, Ito. Komoi, as an adventurer, you're no stranger to helping distressed folk, I'd wager. Tales of good deeds are quick to spread. The adventurer who comes to the aid of the local populace can go from stranger to hero overnight. No doubt you see what I'm getting at. The Sylphs who make their home in Little Solace do so having been driven from their woodland home. Surely they have their fair share of troubles. Seek out troubled sylphs, and see what might be done to ease their worries. A sound plan, would you not say? That said, the sylphs are not known to share their worries with outsiders. You would be better off inquiring with the hearer NVIDIA. Of the Gridanians who reside here, she is most like to be privy to the sylph's trouble. I guess the people live in the tents and the sylphs live in the trees. Maybe. Praise be to the elementals. I cannot express how happy I am to see an adventurer with a truly gentle heart. The sylphs of Little Solus are sorely in need of aid. Pray hear me out. Being a temporary settlement, Little Solus wants for amenities, not least a stout set of defenses. Consequently, beasts from moms around are free to wander in and terrorize the hapless residents. The Ziz Golens and Golnets that roam these parts are especially troublesome. A slaying one of each should serve as a warning to the rest. Furthermore, perhaps you could gather 3 brownie brushes as well. They play an important role in sylphiculture. I do not claim to know the details, and what with such feral beasts prowling the forest, they are not easily come by. When you are done with the deeds, seek out Komuxio. He is slow to warm to outsiders, but your good intentions will not be lost on him. My own experience speaks to this. I didn't actually realize this was a quote-unquote temporary settlement. I don't really consider this a spoiler, but the geometry of the landscape doesn't really change no matter how far you get into the game, so Little Solus will be here forever, as far as I know. Well, let's try this out. How do I use this? Does that have to be next to you? Oh, it worked. Oh, this is where you collect the brushes, I suppose. Level 21 already. I guess the potion won't work. But it has a cooldown, making it pretty useless. Over there, perhaps? I'm missing something. There it is. Of course, it'd be much easier if I had my HUD a little differently, but normally I don't have any trouble finding these sparkles. I don't feel like changing my HUD for anything quite yet. I guess it's a little bit more RP if we have some trouble finding these little mushrooms. Well, it's not for the circle that I was checking in. And that's one more down. And the one in this circle, there it is. Normally that quest would be kind of filler. Just finding those mushrooms would be so simple that there would be no thought into it. But unintentionally, I guess by hiding the name that floats above them with my HUD, I made the quest a little bit more realistic. Dancing One is still here. Dancing One can dance all day. This one's trust is not so easily earned. Dancing One brings brownie bushes for this one. This one can dye thread once more. This one is pleased. Dancing One kills Bitey Buzzy One. This one hates Bitey Buzzy Ones. Dancing One is kind. Too kind. Many walking ones come to this one's abode, but few are friendly like Dancing One. Perhaps this one was wrong not to trust the Dancing One after all. This one asks Dancing One for forgiveness. These ones have many troubles since walking ones last came to our abode. This one must be careful, always careful. But Dancing One is not like other walking ones. This one can trust Dancing One. This one would ask Dancing One for help. Strange walking ones with bodies of steel come to the home of these ones. This one thinks steel ones come from the Empire. Where Empire goes, many living ones become dead ones. Trees fall and bushes burn. These ones' home is in danger. Danger. This one begs of Dancing One to help this one no more. Dancing One is friends with these ones and walking ones, yes? Dancing One will speak to these ones and walking ones in Hut House and find out more. This one has bad feeling. This one fears steel ones are after something. But this one should speak no more. Go Dancing One. This one depends on kindness of Dancing One. Speaking of dancing, I really don't have any dances unlocked yet. I was meaning to unlock some, but didn't quite find the right quest for it. Actually, one of the quests I did in Redania in an early episode, I assumed would unlock a dance, but must have had the wrong one. There's one for each city-state. I'll have to keep an eye out to these side quest givers. The dances aren't particularly important, but if they're free emotes, I want to unlock them. Strange steel walking ones? Yes, this one has seen. Steel walking ones carry big boxes. Maybe walking ones hunt for shiny treasure. This one likes treasure. Of course, Little Soulless is on the outside, or the outskirts, of the larger forest area, where much tougher enemies reside. The native home of the Sylphs, I suppose. Right across that bridge. That marks the higher level area. Shush, shush, this one says. Steel walking ones are scary, like touch ones. This one hates scary, and scary ones have scary friends. I somewhat wish there was an option to turn off the fate music from coming in. Maybe there is one, but I haven't seen it. It kind of interrupts the ambiance of the natural music while traveling. You could just go around the fate circle, but that would be going off the path. Fearsome types clad head to toe in steel, you say? Imperial soldiers, no doubt. I couldn't tell you what they're plotting. I'm sure it's nothing good. Men clad in strange armor? Well, now that you mention it, I did see some suspicious types of late. They were gathering deep in the forest. I simply assumed they were adventurers. This one is happy to see Dancing One return. What did Dancing One learn? This one sees. Steel walking ones come from Empire, carry boxes and go walking deep, deep through trees. As this one thought. Steel walking ones are up to nasty, no good things. This one knows forest well. Steel walking ones try to hide, but this one will find them. This one would borrow Dancing One's map. This one makes mark right here. This is where steel ones hide, this one knows. Dancing One will go looking for steel ones, yes? Oh? Huh. That's strangely in between the two settlements. Well, before we go fighting an enemy, I think we should take a quick break to prepare ourselves for the potential battle.